Guys know I am. So my body clock, my natural body clock has been getting me up at 5 a.m. To those new subscribers who are subscribed to the channel, thank you so much. I am making this live stream in the end of August, which I'm very happy about. Sooner, guys, whenever I come on camera, there's like a million and one things I want to tell you guys, but I know that I have to I always try to shrink what I want to say, which is hard because I can feel the support from you guys. I really, really can. And on and off camera, on and offline, I do feel the support from you guys, and I'm really happy about that. As you guys know, off camera, like usual, I'm working really, really hard. Always working super, super hard to learn new things, to do new things, to understand new things, as well as, coming on here and telling you guys what I learn and stuff like that. And so I've changed around a lot of things, like, off camera, nothing to do with my YouTube channel just yet. That's a whole other can of worms. I've done a lot of things like in my personal life to change a lot of things. And so my natural body clock keeps waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, I am not a morning lover. I'm learning how to adjust, for work purposes. Like when I was in college, if I had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to go to work by 5 or 6, I could do it. Doesn't mean I love doing it, but I can do it. And so there's just been, I don't know, like my natural body clock keeps getting me up super, super early. And it's like no matter what time I go to sleep, my natural body clock is like 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And I'm not mad at it because when I get up at 5 o'clock, I have more time to do things. I have a lot more time, a lot more breathing space to plan what I want to do for the day, to get more organized, to figure things out. And I guess like a part of being an adult, especially during these crazy times in the world, like you learn how to adapt really, really quickly. And you also learn how to, I guess, like snap into action. Like you kind of just learn like I want to say like survival instincts, like survival things that like maybe if things were like in a better time frame, you wouldn't think a certain way, you wouldn't like program your body in a different way. And so just little tweaks here and there that I've made, I've been getting up earlier. And today, um which is going to bring me full circle to the title of the video, I did like a whole journey series of I bought this like smart, it's actually right there in my closet, one of my closets. I bought this like smart like scale, which I've never really been a fan of scales because scales really don't do anything for me. Like it doesn't really make a difference. And so I'm thinking of selling that somehow because like I don't use it. I don't use it. It just sits in my closet, which is ridiculous. And it really kind of like the way that scale is set up is like it's kind of made to like almost obsess over, like the nitty-gritty. And I don't think the word obsess is in my vocabulary. I don't think that certain words, certain emotions, certain things, like I just don't like have in my vocabulary. So for me, I feel like, well, why would I want to obsess over really anything? I just kind of want to like be myself, do me and have fun. So I woke up this morning and I'm like, you know what? All this organization, all this stuff I got going on is like, I feel like an extension of me. And it's kind of hard to describe, but it's like when you feel like there's so many things attached to you and so many things you have to do in life, it's almost like you get down to a finite point where you decide what stays and what goes. And that goes for people, that goes for habits, that goes for how you eat, that goes for how you are at work, you know, what you choose to put your energy into. Like it's a whole, I feel like, natural evolving process that gets you to a certain point where you're like, okay, stay or go, stay or go. And for different reasons, I feel like I've got to that point. You see what I'm saying? Like I've got to this point where I'm like, no matter, you know, hailstorm, high water, it's like you have to be intentional. Like I think the key word here is like intentionality. Like you have to be so intentional and you have to be so laser beam focused on like what you're allowing into your atmosphere, what you're allowing around you, what you're allowing in your everyday life, you know? So I woke up and I'm just like, you know what? I love myself the way I am. Like I've always preached like, you know, if you want to like see any improvement, whether it's your finances, whether it's your body, whatever it is, like you got to start from a place of love. Like that's what I would recommend for anybody looking to improve any kind of area in your life. You got to start from a place of self-love. You got to start from a place of love because especially like when it comes to like, you know, body and health and all that. What I hate seeing and what people tend to do without knowing it is when they want to have a different like body type, they want to, you know, gain muscle, lose muscle, whatever it is, like they start from a place of hating their current body. Like I was actually just on a video on YouTube watching this girl talk about how she lost like over 60 pounds or whatever. And all the comments were like, oh, I'm disgusting. I hated how I look. Like everybody that was trying to praise her was talking about how much they hate themselves. And that's just the wrong starting point, period. With any major change in your life, like that is the wrong starting point. And I wish and I hope that like anybody that needs to hear this, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your health, your business, whatever, like you cannot start from a place of hatred. Because if you're starting from a place of hatred, how are you gonna grow to love the imperfections? Like how are you gonna learn to like applaud yourself like when you hit a new milestone or when you see things going in an upward trend? Like that's just not the way. And like I realized very quickly on like in this journey, I've been on this constant journey from like what, 17, 18, basically from the start of when I made this YouTube channel. Like that's not the way. And I think like just the past 3 years and a half, like I've really come to understand like hatred period is never the way. It's just never the way to get anything done. If you want to improve something in your life, you want to improve something about yourself, about a relationship, whatever it is, like whatever it is, like your routine, how you respond to certain things, like whatever you're going through, it has to come from a place of love. So let's take it for an example when it comes to your body. Okay, let's say if you're you're a guy watching and you want to get ripped, you want to have a six pack. Let's just give an example. There's a guy who wants to have a six pack, ripped to the gods, like a statue. But every time he looks in the mirror, he's, you know, pinching his arms. He's talking about how tiny he is. He's making fun of himself. Like your body is not going to respond to you hating yourself. That's just not the way. Like that's just not the way. So, yes, if you want to gain weight or lose weight or whatever, you have to love what you see in the mirror. You know, you have to love what you are right now, not tomorrow, not an hour from now, not a year from now. Like you have to love and embrace what you are right now so you can build upon it in a positive direction and not from a direction of, oh, you know, beating yourself up. Because what is so like here's what I want to say, and here's what like I'm really reprogramming my body and my mind to understand is like what is hating yourself, or what is worrying about a situation, or what is obsessing, the word obsessing over something gonna do for you? Like that does not manifest anything. You see what I'm saying? Like those are all ego trips that is subconsciously built into our brains. And that's why like I'm so against like that hate train that people put out here when they want to like gain muscle or like get more curvy or like lose weight or whatever. Like that's why I'm so against that kind of like practice, because I know from personal experience that that way of thinking is toxic. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's toxic, it's non-productive, and it's only going to make you nitpick yourself more, nitpick the other person more, or just nitpick the situation as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, not too long ago, I did do like a fruit and like veg, like a raw cleanse, like 7 day journey, and I recorded myself every single day. I lost over 7 pounds, great, whatever. And there was a lot of things about it that I liked, but kind of reminiscing back to like what I want to do now, like the direction I'm going in now with like health and like not being stressed out and all these other things. I'm like, you know what? There was something I said in the video where I was saying how like if I was a mom, I wouldn't want to be like a I wouldn't want to be a certain kind of mom. And that's just so ridiculous. Like I was thinking back to what I said and I'm like, that's just so pathetic. Like when you're a mom, like your body goes through a lot of changes. So I was just talking from a very like I feel superficial angle. I don't really think I was thinking about like all the duties of what entails being a mom. And, I don't have any kids. Like, I've never been pregnant. Like, I don't have any kids. The age I'm at right now, like where I'm at right now in my life, that's off the table. Like, I am not going after that whatsoever. Like, if it happens, it happens. I am focusing 110% on myself. Like, that is like my duty. My duty right now is to myself and everything attached to me, which is my future businesses, my YouTube channel, my job, my health, how I regulate my stress levels, my income. Like, those are all things attached to me that to a certain extent I can control, and to another extent I cannot control. And so that's where you have to start. You have to start with understanding like what is in your control and what is not in your control. Let's say, for example, right? Let's give another example. Let's say, for example, you work a job and your job tells you you have to come in to your job every morning at 7 o'clock and you get off at like 8 p.m. at night. Okay, so between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., you have a certain way of eating, right? Now you have to now you have to change your whole schedule, right, around that job's demands of you. So is that in your control? No. The only thing in your control, if you don't like it, is getting a different job. That's the only thing in your control. When they tell you to come into work, when they tell you what to do at work, that is not in your control. And that is, I think, why we have so many people unhappy, because they're not being realistic, right? They're not being realistic about what they control and what they don't control. And what you have to understand is that in life, we got to take the good with the bad. Nothing Unfortunately, nothing is always 100% good. There is hills and there is valleys sometimes. There is complications sometimes. Sometimes there is things that make us unhappy. And that's just like the reality of life. So I just feel like with anything in life, you gotta be realistic in a way where you're not pressurizing yourself, you're not harming yourself, you're not being extreme with yourself, and you got to like think realistically. So with that said, I woke up this morning and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of eating processed foods because of, excuses of, oh, I don't have time, or oh this or oh that. Like, and the past few days, what do you call it, Purdue or organic? Like, I've had organic like chicken in my household, and I don't know what it is, but like the past couple of days, I don't like how chicken tastes. I don't know how to describe it. It's like the chicken tastes like it's touched. We have a Caribbean term that says like that we use that says touched, like where it tastes like it's fallen on the floor, or it just doesn't taste clean. Like I don't know what it is. And I think that all these like little, experiences that I've been having is kind of like bringing me to this point of like saying to myself, okay, you don't even enjoy eating this. You don't even like this. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that you can't control, you know? So I think that in addition to all the other videos and content that I do, I would like to share that with you all. Not like, hopefully not super long videos because I don't even have time for that. But I think that I really want to like get super, super like focused on how I can change this because there is just some foods and things that I've been encountering that I just don't think tastes good anymore. Like, and I'm kind of just like at this point where I'm fed up. I'm like, you know what? I've done this fruit and veg cleanse before. I really liked it and I liked how my body felt and I'm dedicated. I haven't given up. I have different like, health goals that I do want to accomplish at some point one day. And I think that there's no better time, of course, we can all use the excuse and say, oh, well, if I had more money, I'd have a chef. And if I had more money, I'd order my food, I'd pre-box my food or whatever. Like, all these like bougie, all these bougie excuses as to why we can't do something. And like me personally, I'm tired of that because like it can't just be that, oh, if you don't have a private chef, you can't eat the way you want to eat. Like, I'm just not going to accept that. I don't care, like, how much money I have in the bank. I'm not going to accept that, oh, the only way you can really eat how you want to eat is if you have a personal chef. Like, 98% of Americans don't have a personal chef. Like, actually, I would say more 96, 97% of Americans, because 1 to 5% is in a different category. So I would say easily 97% of Americans don't have a personal chef. So that excuse is out the window. You see what I'm saying? Like, and the same thing people say, oh, if you don't have a personal trainer, you're not gonna like your body's not gonna look the way it wants to look. That's a lie from the pit of hell. That's a lie. These are all limiting beliefs. These are all things that are programmed into our brain. Like we have to unplug. And it's not just about health, it's every area of our lives. We have to unplug from a system that wants us to be in a perpetual state of stress. It's just a constant rat race of stress. And I am tired of it. I'm tired of bowing to it. I'm tired of participating in it. And I'm changing so many things about how I react, how I breathe, how I sleep, how I eat. Like, I'm really, really serious. Like, I'm really serious about it because I see how different things affect our mind, and we do have to be aware of what we're feeding our mind. So, I feel like if I can prove it's possible, I feel like I can prove it. Like, that anything is possible. You feel me? Because people always will have excuses as to why they can't do something. But like, people heard my life story or like knew all the things like I've had to go through to like have this channel to do all these things. Like they would people could say 100 excuses, but like none of those excuses equaled up to like the passion and the work ethic and the dedication that I put into this channel and other areas of my life. Like those excuses did not exist. So I'm at this point where like I'm just not going to accept excuses. I'm not saying that I'm not going to have meat ever, that I'm not going to have a cheat meal ever. I did not say that. What I'm saying is that I am now like in this bubble of consciousness where like I'm just more aware. Like if I don't like how something tastes or like looks, I just don't touch it. Like, and it's been happening to me for a while. Like I'll go to eat chicken, like nothing like nothing fried. Like it could be organic, like baked, lean as hell. And even then, like my body just doesn't take it. And I'm like, okay, so this has been happening for a couple weeks now. Like my body doesn't want to take chicken. It will take other things, but it will not take chicken. Something's up with that. You see what I'm saying? So you have to just listen to your body. If your body says to you, don't have a certain kind of drink or don't eat a certain kind of protein, then don't eat it. Like it's kind of that simple, If your body says to you that every single time you're around a certain person, you get stressed out, then don't be around that person. Like that's your body rejecting them, That's your body saying to you, protect your energy, protect yourself, like move away from the situation, If they're not bringing any happiness to you, all they're doing is bringing their problems to you and they're not willing to change, then you have to let them go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually going to do that today. I actually have somebody I'm letting go today because I'm not your mom. You see what I'm saying? I'm not like, in a spiritual sense, in a business sense, that's like another thing that I'm called to do. But like in my personal waking life, I don't strive to be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to see people for who they are and not what we want them to be. And that's like the biggest advice like I would give people nowadays is like, don't see people how you want to see them. Like, see them for what they are. You can manifest whatever, you could try to do whatever, but at the end of the day, like, people have free will. Stop trying to control people. People will show you who they are. People are who they are. So it's up to you to decide if you want to put up with that. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for pretty much everything. Like, it's up to you if you're going to keep letting excuses and things dictate what you know that you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if somebody's working a job, but they know is like hurting their mental health or like making them sick, and they have like other options, but they keep holding on to a bad job or a bad work atmosphere because they're desperate, and now it's going to manifest as a disease. Now it manifests as, losing money. Like, people are not aware of like what they're contributing. That they're so quick to blame God. They're so quick to blame what happened in their childhood, but people are not like realizing how they're contributing to the same cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that takes accountability. Most people can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Most people can't take accountability for squat because they're programmed in such a deceiving way, but they're not aware of like what they're doing. They're not aware of like how they're contributing to their own misery. Yeah, like, they're not aware of like how they're contributing to their own misery. So I just came on here to let you guys know that I'm gonna have to make a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just coming out here to tell y'all, like, I'm gonna have to figure something out. And it's not a game, because my body, I just came out here to tell you all, like, my body is now beginning to reject chicken. And I'm not trying to be funny, like, my body does not want to eat chicken. Like, straight up. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a pattern. My taste buds don't like it, my body don't like it. I'm eating the vegetables, I'm eating, the side dishes, but I'm not eating the protein because my body does not want me to eat it. So I think it's time. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time for me to go back on this raw eating plan. And, it could involve a little bit of fish, a little bit of shrimp. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are things. Well, when I did my fruit and veg cleanse, I did not have those things. I had strictly fruit and veg, and that was the whole plan. You see what I'm saying? But like, as a eating lifestyle, I don't see anything wrong if your body allows it to have like shrimp or a little bit of fish, because those are lean things and you can have that with a bunch of vegetables or noodles or whatever, and that's not a ton of calories at all. And it's actually good for you. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. But I don't know. I'm not going to make a whole different like channel just for health, because I'm not like a nutritionist. I'm not like I'm not like, a personal trainer. I'm just saying that like there's just been a change in me where it's in a weird about way. It almost feels like it's trickling down. It's so strange. It's almost like certain things in my life I'm having more control over, I'm having more of a grip on, and it's almost like it's easier for me now to make certain decisions. Whereas maybe before, I didn't like feel like I had the right tools to deal with certain conflict, to deal with certain personalities, to deal with certain people. And like, the more that I'm in tune with myself, the more that I'm aware of myself, the more that I focus on myself, it's like it's easier for me to decide what is good for me, what is going to help me, and what's harming me, what's stopping me, what's blocking me. And so maybe there's somebody out here watching where you have these undetectable blocks in your own life. Maybe you're somebody watching me where you have blocks in your own life, but you're not understanding why. And I'm encouraging you to take some time for yourself, because it is a journey. Like, this is all a journey. Life is a journey. Life is an adventure, right? Like, you have to you have to prioritize yourself. In order to understand these things and to get to this point, you have to prioritize yourself. You cannot always be there for everybody else, but you're not there for yourself. I'll repeat that. You cannot be there for everybody else, including your kids. If you have kids, even worse. You cannot be there for everybody else, but you're not there for yourself. This is why, yes, this is why mothers and parents a lot of times are, super unhealthy. They have a bad sleep schedule. They have all these problems because they're putting everybody else and everything else before themselves. And then they wonder why they're out of balance, they're out of sync, they're depressed, they have bad eating habits, they have bad addictions. Like, people need to wake up. People need to really wake up. And I wish more people could see this, but I'm so serious. Like, people need to wake up, because it's not just what happened in your childhood. It's not just what happened at work, whatever. Like, you got to take responsibility for you. You have to get to the point where you're fed up and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'll put it that way. Like, any time in my life where like I've made a big decision, a big leap, is because I was sick and tired of something. And I knew that no one was gonna come save me, no one was gonna come pat me in the back. I mean, yes, it may happen, but like, I'm not reliant upon that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I had to understand that, like, it's up to me. If I don't want to talk to somebody, I don't talk to them. If I don't want to eat something, I don't eat it. If I don't want to if I don't want to answer to something, I don't answer to it. Like, I had to take that power back and realize that, okay, like, it's up to you. And I think a part of that is people just being too nice to things that are killing them. Can I just say that, like, there's a lot of things in life that people are letting just slip by and happen to them, but like, they're contributing to it. They're allowing it to happen. You don't have to allow abuse. You don't have to allow a nasty eating plan. You don't have to allow yourself to smoke or drink if you're into that. Like, you are contributing to that. That's why I'm saying, like, people have to start from self-love. That's the hardest thing to get through people's heads when they're trying to like better themselves. Like, you can see all these things you want to change, yes. You can see all these things that you don't like, yes, but it has to come from a place of love and not condemnation. So you're loving yourself through the imperfections, you're loving yourself through the changes, you're loving yourself through what you're working hard to achieve. Like, you're still loving yourself. You're not gonna like hate yourself, are you? Like, no, you're supposed to still love yourself. But people think that being super tough and strict is equal to love, and that could stem from like how they're raised, whatever their programming is. But like, I just know for myself, like that's not the way. That is not the way. The way is to love on yourself, to be gentle with yourself, and to put a plan into practice, into action. That is the only way. That is the only way. If you're going to beat up on yourself and berate yourself every time you make a mistake, you're not going to improve. You're not going to get better. And so that could also come from conditioning amongst peers, amongst people, where they're bullying you, or they're talking down to you, or they're comparing themselves to you. That happens a lot in society, and that's toxic. So then therefore people are making changes in a way that is toxic. They're doing things that are toxic, and then wonder why their life is toxic. Like, that's not the way. The way is to go through love, to go through reflection, loving yourself enough to take some time away from other people if you have to, like, not always being so social, or not always being preoccupied with everybody and everything else, but taking that time for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Probably just like this, honestly. I mean, I've done it before. I'll do it again. I think that, when you have a base, when you have a channel, you're supposed to put on it what you want to put on it. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is something that like I'm inspired by. This is something that I like and that I think is important, and is equally tied to how our life evolves, how our life shapes out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But I think that like when you apply yourself, it's not hard. You know what I'm saying? If you really want something, you'll make the sacrifices to have it happen. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just something that I think people have to ease their way into, whatever that big change in life that you're getting ready to make or that you're getting ready to do. You have to ease your way into it. If you're going to change your sleep schedule, you're going to change your diet, you're going to do all these great grandiose things. You got to ease yourself into it. Don't be so hard on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be so hard on yourself to the point where you don't take any action. That's where I think people get stuck, is they're so hard on themselves that they don't take any action. And when they go around pointing the finger and chastising other people that have hurt them or whatever, to cover the pain, to cover the inadequacy, to cover the fact that they have no motivation, that they have no progress in a certain area of their life, whether it's health, finances, personal relationships, whatever, you know, that's where the devil's in the details. That's where the problems start, as people begin to point the finger. And the only finger you need to point is the one in the mirror, which is at yourself, because you have power. I have power. You have power. That's why I see why it's so hard for people to do certain things or to change in life, because no one's telling anybody this. I mean, if you luckily have, decent parents or whatever, like, yeah, they may say little things here and there, but like, majority of people are not programmed to succeed. They're not programmed to be happy. They're not programmed to be stress free. They're programmed to be stressed out. They're programmed to be unhealthy. They're programmed to be depressed. With all the technology we got, people are more depressed now than ever. You know what I'm saying? They're more depressed, they're more lonely, they're more unhappy. So what does that tell you? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's more options to make money. There's all this new stuff out here, but yet it don't seem to be helping really anybody but the 1 in 5%. And that's intentional, because there's a whole process, there's a whole reprogramming that goes into, especially, I think, a healthy body, a non-stressed out body, a non-stressed out mind. So much reworking and rewiring goes into that I don't even think I have time to really talk about this morning, because I'm already on 31 minutes in this video. That'll probably be an hour plus, at least 2 hour video, which I cannot do today. But that's obvious to me. That's obvious to me. It's like, society does not program people to be healthy. Society does not program people to be wealthy. Like, not at all. Everything is programmed against most people. And it's really up to people to take up their own mantle, take up their own burdens, take up their own sadness, and do away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get rid of it. And it's not about government help. It's not about therapy necessarily either. I just think it's just how you're programmed, and you have to seek out your own tools that work for you. You have to figure out through trial and error what works for you. So it's not going to be a process that is just willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like if somebody's a heavy smoker, let's say, for example, someone smoked for 20 plus years of their life. For them to go cold turkey in one day and never smoke again is not realistic. You see what I'm saying? It's not realistic. Someone has to go through maybe trauma, maybe developmental reasoning. Maybe somebody has to go through their own like body and daily habit and routine, and figure out, well, why do they smoke? Why do they have an urge to smoke? That's going to be different for everybody that is a smoker. So it's the same thing, and I think, at least for me in this case, it feels like it's a trickle down effect. It's like, with health, with relationships, with business, with work, with everything tied to me that I'm responsible for. It's all connected. Like, if you really step back and pay attention, like, it is all connected. It's all tied down to how you think, your breath work. If you're stressed out 24/7, you don't relax, you don't have, meditation, you don't have certain things that keep you level-headed, you're going to be totally off the wire. Any little thing that happens in your day is going to throw you off. And, that's why I think in my own personal life, I have investigated. Like, I have literally investigated like certain situations that I feel like I've been in, and I've begun to like ponder upon, different things and ask myself, like, okay, like, so back then, or when I did this or when I did that, like, why was the response this, or why did I do that? And a lot of times it comes down to stress. Like, it comes down to not feeling that you have enough time, not not feeling like you have time, and you're working yourself up, you're working yourself up into a tizzy that is not healthy. You see what I'm saying? And it's not gonna benefit you in the long run. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I don't think I can. I mean, I'm not gonna say like on camera unequivocally, okay, I'm gonna eat this, 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 and not eat this, this, this. Like, I don't want to, set myself up for something that is too hard when I know where I have to start, right? Where I know where I need to start and what I need to do for myself in order to be a happy individual and a healthy individual. I know what I have to do for myself, and I'm not going to let like society or preconceived notions of what beauty standards are or whatever, get into my head. Because if you let that get into your head, chances are of you succeeding and sticking to something is very low. And that's why I keep talking about like stress management, bruh, because stress is like where it all starts. It, to me, what I see in people and like their behavior, they do a lot of things most of the time because they're stressed out, they're disorganized, they're overwhelmed. So start there in your own life, you all. Start there. If you are living a life every single day that's out of balance, unmotivating, unhappy, something's wrong. And not just because the world is on fire, but because you have the power to change it. You have to know unequivocally that you can do something about it. The second that you feel you cannot do nothing about it is when things get worse. I'm telling you from experience, okay? That's when things get really bad, is when you psych yourself up to believe that it's never going to get better. It's never going to change. It's never going to, what you want is never going to happen. You cannot fill up your head with that nonsense. You cannot keep feeding yourself this negativity, because that's going to beat down on not only your subconscious mind, but that's gonna like penetrate your self-value, your self-worth. That's gonna penetrate how you think about yourself, how you see yourself. And that's not positive. That's not good. So, everybody has their own, demons, if they will, or their own battles to fight. But how you fight it and how you go about it is entirely up to you. Things that work for me may not work for you. The way that I see food, the way that I see life, the way that I see my challenges and my things I want to accomplish in my life is, I'm pretty sure, is not how you see things you got to accomplish in your life. I did not go through what you went through. Your neighbor didn't go through what you went through. So you cannot go by other people's golden standard. You have to make your own golden standard. You have to figure out what works for you. It all starts with self-love. So I feel like putting this in this video, like, especially if we're talking about relationships, you gotta start with you. There's nothing worse than somebody who, you know, when it comes to romance and all that, there's nothing worse, in my opinion, with somebody who looks like they have the whole package. They look, but they're a broken person. They're negative. They have all these issues. Like, that's not gonna impress anybody who's a decent person. Like, that's not gonna impress squat. You feel me? Like, you gotta get deep. You gotta get real about what you're attracting in your life. And that's another thing, I have my coffee here. Obviously, it's not the typical pumped up coffee. It's pretty raw and bland. Um, and like, that's another example, like for me, coffee helps my digestive system. I don't like to drink it every day, but if I have to, now that I'm getting up earlier, I will. I'm not like crossing anything out. I'm trying to figure out what works for me. But like, yeah, like, people that look okay on the outside, but then they're abusive, You know, they're messed up. They have all these addictions. So it just goes to show like people that focus just on the outside are not any better off, because when people get close to them, they'll see how messed up they are. You know what I'm saying? And I have seen that. I have seen that in many different walks of life. They talk the talk, they look the part. But when they open their mouth, or when you really get into how they live their life, they're toxic. Period. They're toxic. And so it's a whole package. It's a whole experience. It's a whole process. It's just, it goes a lot deeper than just, oh, I'm gonna look a certain way, I'm gonna dress a certain way, it's about your essence. It's about, are you a good person? Do you respect yourself? Do you respect other people? It's a whole chain of command of how you better your life. It's not it goes a lot deeper than just, oh, I'm gonna eat salmon and rice. Like, why are you eating salmon and rice? Why do you want your skin to look better? Why do you want to be a better example? Like, a lot more goes into it than just, oh, I look a certain way, or I dress a certain way, or have a certain income. Like, it's a lot deeper than what, it's just a lot deeper than I think most people have a grip on. And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just go by what society tells them. They follow the trend of what their parents did and their great grandparents did. And this is why the world is jacked up right now, because it's full of people who have no idea what they're doing, have no direction, have no insight. And no wonder, what I'm saying? No wonder why divorce is skyrocketing. No wonder why people are dying more. No wonder why depression is higher than it's ever been. No wonder why people are lonelier than they've ever been. Because these other methods, these other supplements don't work for the soul. You know, these dating app people on dating apps, like, that's so ridiculous. Like, that's why they're not whole inside, because they're trying to find alternatives to what actually is gonna like help them, but they're trying to take a shortcut because they think that the shortcut is gonna get them from point A to Z. And that's never the case. That's never the case. You have to go through A, B, C, D, E. If you want sustainable, permanent, solid change, you have to go through all of that. You can't cut corners when it comes to self-improvement. You can't cut corners when it comes to wanting to change your legacy, change your life. You can't cut corners on that. Trust me, I've tried. So, you can't cut corners on solid success, solid improvement. There is no cheat code, bruh. Like, there could be techniques, yes, but like, there is no way to out navigate the hills and valleys of things that you have to go through, you have to learn from in order to get to the next level. It's all part of like the game of life. You have to go through all those things to really understand how to like get to the point where like you're solid, you're good, and where everything in your life and everything you interact with actually makes sense. There's nothing worse when you're living in a life, or you're living in a way that doesn't even make sense to you. But until you stop doing what you're doing and you take a step back, you're not going to unravel that. You're not going to unpackage that. You're not going to understand why you've been in a certain loop if you don't press pause and take a step back and look at it from the outside in and ask yourself, is this the life I want to live? Is this what I want to be? Is this what I want to be a part of? Is this what I want to participate in? You have to do that work. No one can come in and swoop down and do that work for you. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Anything that you want to get the way you want to get it, you have to get it. It is very rare, very, 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 very rare that people are just going to just hand everything to you and you have little to no consequence, little to no contribution. That doesn't even make any sense. Like it's energy. It's all about the energy. You see what I'm saying? It's all about the energy. So what you're living, what you're participating in, what you're putting up with is up to you. It's entirely up to you. And you cannot keep passing the baton to your childhood, to your parents, to a religious organization, to whoever, whatever. if you really want to live happily and you really want to understand your life and you really want to live a life that makes sense to you, you got to grab the bull by the horns. You got to take time for yourself to investigate. I'm telling you, there's no other way. You have to do the work. You know, I was listening to a speaker on manifestation. Actually, I went to sleep with it, and I woke up to it. And funny enough, he was literally saying things that like, and that was not, and funny enough, that wasn't even the theme of his video, but somehow, some way, like he got into certain topics based upon his chat. And it was so beautiful to me because a lot of things, a lot of topics that he naturally like dived into in this live video that he live streamed was topics that I had on my mind too, that I was thinking about. And when he said it, I was like, exactly. Like, even he's talking about the fact that, like, you cannot escape, like, the levels to this. You cannot escape, like, things you have to learn in order to be solid for the next big task, the next big project, the next big responsibility. Like, these are not things you can just kind of shortcut. Like, you have to really understand that, like, it's a whole process, you know? And yes, you know, maybe you'll get through the process in a quick fashion because your body, your mind can process things quicker and good for you. You know, that's a part of training your mental. But, you know, the bottom line is, you got to take time for yourself. You cannot expect people to always have the answers. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, just because somebody else did it this way does not mean that you should just, you know, step by step do what they're doing. And then when you don't get the result when you don't get the result that they got, now you're upset about it. But like, that's not for you. You have to figure out what's for you. You can't try to duplicate what somebody else has done and then wonder why the results that you get are not the results they get. That don't even make any sense. But that's what most people are doing. Most people are cutting scraps and remixing from other people, and they're not brave enough, and they're not courageous enough to step out it alone, to leave whatever programming they've been programmed with, and to actually make it happen by themselves. I have taken that step. I have continued to take that step, and I will continue to until I freaking poof, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will continue to do it because that is the only way. That is the only way. Only listen to yourself. So I'm just basically a reminder this morning, or whatever time you're watching this video, I'm just a reminder to tell you, like, you've got to, what does the Bible say? You got to separate from amongst them, bro. Like, basically, you've got to come out from among them. You have to unplug. You have to take a good look in the mirror. You got to take a good look at your habits. You got to take a good look at the patterns in your life. And you have to make some tough decisions. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you whether it's about diet or money or love or what. I'm not going to sit up here and tell y'all a bunch of bullshit and hogwash and lies. I'm only going to tell you what I know works for me, what works for other manifestors that I've seen and tested and proven in my own way. I'm only going to tell you what I know is actually going to get you real freedom and real success. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you, oh yeah, just follow what this person did and you'll be happy. Like, is that really the way though? Or is it that you're meant to find your own way, your own pattern of synchronicity, your own thought of processing to get you to where you need to be? I think most people just need to take time for themselves. You feel me? Take time away from all the noise out here and look within and ask yourself the tough questions. Until you do that, you're not going to get the answers you want. And another thing, you got to be able to say no. You know, I have to put that in here because I feel led to. You've got to say no. There's gonna be a lot of things there's gonna be a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that present themselves to you that look shiny, that look good, that look like it's the best thing for you, but it's a lie. It's a temptation. It's a deception. It's an illusion. And until you're super aware, like on a high level, you're not going to see it coming. That's why you got to train yourself. Even the most minuscule thing that you think is not set up to destroy you, it is. Because why? You're not aware of it. So when you're not aware of something, it makes it even worse. It makes it even easier to come in and destroy you because you're not aware of it. So you've got to be aware. And where does the awareness come from? The awareness comes from taking time with yourself, meditating, prayer, okay? Sitting in silence, not always having noise 24/7. Because if you have things happening 24/7 in your ears and there's no peace, there's no still time, there's no quiet time, how in the hell can you even look through the day and even get good memories when your mind is running like a racetrack? How are you going to be able to really like break apart your day and actually extract the good things of it when you're so busy and when you're so distracted and when you're so caught up in this and that and this and that and this and that? How are you going to succeed? And that's why, in most people's definition, they don't succeed because they're not focused. You get what I'm saying? So this is like a chain of command here. This is like a whole process. And this is something that I'm realizing. And this is something that I've had to learn through a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of focus, a lot of dedication is the word, a lot of dedication. And to realizing the patterns and the things that trip us up, that get us confused, that get us on the wrong path, you have to pay attention. Or basically, at that point, anything can come in and tell you who you are. Anything can distract you off your path. Anything can convince you that you're doing something wrong because it's from the other perspective, the other voice. When the voice you should be listening to is your own voice, the person who should be making decisions based upon what is yourself, not based upon your neighbor, not based upon social media. It should be coming from you. But most people are not doing that because they're so distracted. And that's how they get people. You know, the quick witch scheme, the quick this, the quick that. That is a destruction of most people. Is why I'm realizing when they get in this energy of desperation is when things capitulate. And that's why you have to stay calm. You know that phrase says keep calm, carry on. You literally have to stay calm. You cannot let your body frazzle out. You cannot let your body freak out because if you let your body freak out, then sooner or later your mind's gonna follow. You're gonna be stressed out. You're gonna be out of control. You're gonna be unstable. It's just a natural processy. Once you get in that state of mind, it's bound to collapse on you. So you have to be calm. You have to be organized. You have to be steady. You have to, you have to pay attention to how your body feels when you engage with something, when you're faced with a tough decision. You have to call the shots. You cannot let your ego or anything outside of that call the shots for you. You have to call your own shots. No one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna do it for you. And that's just the sad reality. And the way this current system set up is people are so busy, they're so stressed out. You would think that technology would help people, but it's actually done more harm than good. That's obvious because, with all these gadgets and all these things going on, society, people's brains should be healthier. People should be healthier, but they're not. They're worse. Why? Because it's the escape route. It's a shortcut. It's a system that doesn't reward diligence. And that's why people are so effed up, because it's all these ticky-tacky things that are not rooted in reality, are not rooted in routine, are not rooted in, someone just got what I was saying, not rooted in something solid. It's fleeting. Just like dating apps, I'll give an example with date people that go on dating apps. They're trying to flick through a picture to find their soulmate. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And then they wonder why they're stuck spending all this money for all these dating services and all these failed relationships because you're trying to use a shortcut. You know, you're trying to use a shortcut that, most people are not destined to use or to have success in. But they've convinced people that, oh yeah, this is the magic pill. But is it though, or is it the magic death pill? Is it the pill that's going to break the camel's back? Which one is it? And most times it's the pill that breaks the camel's back. It don't help you, it hurts you. It makes it worse. It makes the situation worse. So people have to like understand the tricks that are being played, man. They got to wise up. They got to realize that, the system don't love you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things in the world just doesn't genuinely love us, people, awakened ones. It wants to entrap us, and we are the ones that have to do the entrapping. Sadly, we're the ones who have to break free for our own salvation. We're the ones that have to do it, because they're gonna keep putting it in our face. They're gonna keep abusing us. They're gonna keep pressuring us to work harder for less. It's gonna keep happening, guys. It's gonna keep happening until people really, not just the word wake up, but they really unplug. They detach. They walk away. That's the point that it has to get to now. It's not just saying wake up. It's about now waking up and walking away. That's the second part that we're now hopefully going to get into the new year. Is people not just saying, wake up, wake up. Well, when you wake up, you need to make a decision. You need to choose better. You need to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a journey, man. It's a long road. It's a long winding road with hills and valleys, like I said. And I think that all these so-called quick schemes and all these things I could see as hurting humans more than it's helping us. That's obvious to me. It's hurting people more than it's helping them. They're going out with one thing to help one thing, and they're coming out with six other problems because their mind is not right. Just like all these girls who do all this plastic surgery, and they become addicted or they get messed up mentally because they're not doing things the right way. They're trying to do things in a way that is not designed for their body or their mental, and their mental has not caught up to their body, and so their whole system's out of whack. And so they end up getting more sick, more unhappy with themselves, because why? They haven't dealt with the real issues inside. They haven't looked in the mirror within to figure out what the real issues are. All they've done is just skim over the cracks, so to speak. That's all they've done. They're not going into their trauma. They're not going into who convinced them to put themselves on a chopping table. You know what I'm saying? They're just following a trend. And then when they come out botched or they become obsessed or vain or whatever, it's not a surprising because they try to outskirtle the healing process. They've tried to get away from what's actually eating them alive and try to get a quick you know solution, but it's not a solution. It's actually done more damage than good. You know what I'm saying? And those that are honest will tell you that. So same thing with anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to go deep. You got to go deep. You can't wait for people to help you go deep. You know what I'm saying? Yes, by all means, search out resources, search out articles, whatever you feel led to that's healthy and positive, knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, it's going to start with you. I don't care how many videos you watch. I don't care how many readings you watch. It's at the end of the day, it's you that has to deal with the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the person in the mirror that has to really figure out, well, why does this keep happening? Or why is this not going the way I want it to go? Those are the questions people have to ask themselves. You see what I'm saying? And they have to be real about it, not fake and not phony. They have to be honest about it. And newsflash, if a person is not honest with themselves, how the hell can they be honest with you? There's a lot of people out here that are like, oh, this person's a habitual liar. This person's a psychopath. Okay, but like, Are they honest with themselves? Does their daily behavior and lifestyle and testimony and fruit show in their life of a person who's honest? Yes or no? Most people are going to say no. This person has red flags. This person keeps showing red flags. Okay, so why are you putting up with that? You love them. Okay, you care about them. Okay, you want better for them. Okay, but they're only going to get help if they help themselves. You're not the answer. You're not the answer. The person's only going to get help if they want to get help. That's the other thing that people want to skim over is, oh, I can fix this person. Oh, I can change this. No, the hell you cannot. They are their own person. So stop trying to change somebody else's bad behavior. Focus on your fucking self, man. Focus on yourself. Stop trying to fix everybody else in the world. Why don't you fix yourself? This is another problem people have is they try to fix everybody else and care for everybody else and their family or their best friends or whatever. But how much time out of the day are you taking for yourself and your own problems and your own things you want to achieve? How much energy are you putting into your own dreams, your own passions, your own business over other people? Now, if you're doing it for, if you have to do it for work like me or whatever, that's different. But I'm talking about offline, not work related. I'm talking about in your waking reality, your waking day. How much energy are you putting into other people that you should be putting into yourself? That's another problem people have is they wanna prioritize everybody else's shortcomings, but they don't wanna prioritize their own shortcomings. They wanna berate everybody else. They wanna point the finger at everybody else and nitpick everybody else. But like, why don't you nitpick yourself? You feel what I'm saying? People have more of a comfortability of nitpicking other people than nitpicking themselves. And why? Because they want it. It's a form of escapism. You know, it's a form of escapism. Just like right now, I'm live talking about how to better yourself, but I bet you I drop a video about a celebrity and that will do probably 200% better than this video right here. Why? Because people want a form of escapism. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to do the hard work. That's why only a certain number of people become millionaires and have the best lives, because it's a small percentage have the knowledge, do the work. That's the reality. That's another cold reality that we're not going to get into today, but that's a contribution to it. That's a part of it. That is a big part of it. You know, they they talk the talk, but they also walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk. You know what I'm saying? And people can make things look easy, doesn't mean it is easy. I can make YouTube look easy all day long. I could do a bunch of stuff, go viral, do all types of stuff, but I'm telling you, it's not as easy as it looks initially. You have to still put in work. You have to still research. You still got to do a lot of things to better yourself. So looks are deceiving. That's what I'm trying to say. Looks are very deceiving. Someone can look healthy, but they're not healthy at all. They have a bunch of addictions. They have a bunch of toxic habits. They are toxic. Hello. But they look good, but they're full of shit. That's most people. So I'm trying to tell y'all, if you really about that life, you gotta go deep, man. If you really about that life, you got to go deep. You gotta do a solo dolo, man. You got to do this through hell and high water. You cannot give up. You cannot give in. You have to be so focused. You have to be so focused. You have to have such focus, such intentionality, such discipline that it becomes a different world. It becomes a different lifestyle. It becomes a different way of living. Truthfully, it really does. That, you know, if you're watching me and you're somebody that is serious about that, you got to hear what I'm saying. Not just listen and hear. I'm saying that you got to like really take it in and understand what I'm trying to say. Like, this is a you versus you thing. This is not a you versus your neighbor, you versus social media, you versus, this is you versus you. It's always about you versus you in this game of life. That's all it's ever going to be. Is a battle between your ego and your inner knower, and around we go. That's until the end of time. That's what it's always going to be about. And if you take time and you make little changes in your daily routine to focus on yourself, your future self will thank you. So I want to say this. If you are using a lot of time to worry about other people, to, cuddle other people, like not Instagram, not YouTube, I'm saying like in real life, right? You got to take majority of that behavior and apply it to yourself. End of story. All the worrying that you're doing about other people out here and what they got going on, if it's not making you money, like when I do videos on celebrities, it's a part of my channel, so that's different. But I'm saying if you're doing it for free, stop doing that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you're not making no coin off that, you're not making no headway off that, why are you doing it? It's a waste of time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, put that energy and all that worry and into yourself. If you're not where you want to be financially, spiritually, health-wise, you got to turn that attention back on yourself, and don't feel bad for it. Don't feel selfish about it. You've got to put yourself first. Period. You've got to put yourself first. If you don't like how your life is, you're thinking about 2024 and you're sweating and you're huffing and puffing, you got some work to do, my friend. You've got to get busy. And I'm not just talking the talk, I walk the walk. This is what I do every day in my life. There ain't not one day where my foot ain't on the gas pedal unless I'm resting and I need rest. You feel what I'm saying? Like, every day I'm working on myself, period. There is no days off. There is no days off. There is none. Because I want to put myself first for my future and for what I care about. I can't afford to put myself last. You can't afford to put yourself last. So why are you putting yourself last? Why? So you've got to put yourself first. So I think that I'm going to change the title of this video right now. How about that? Because once I get off of here, I got to get my day started. You all know how it is that have been subscribing to me for a while. When I do videos like this, sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. Who gives a shit? You feel me? The duration's duration. I get up early enough on purpose so that if I have to do a longer video, I can. Like I told you all, for those who just joined. Let me just make sure. Gonna probably change the thumbnail as well. We'll see it. And I just want to put out here, because I'm gonna manifest this. And this may sound a little wacky, I don't care, because I believe the power of the spoken word is very powerful. I'm telling y'all, what is this? Hold on. Okay. There's something one day I'm going to manifest, and I know I'm going to manifest it. And I'm going to be featured on somebody else's YouTube channel, because I've already put it out in the atmosphere and I'm working towards it. And that's also going to show you all that I don't just talk, I walk the walk. And I've been walking the walks even before I had my YouTube channel. You see what I'm saying? And it is all about focus. It is all about intentionality. It is all about, it really does encompass everything. You see what I'm saying? So I've changed my title because, that's really what it's about. And yeah, so I just want to say once again, you all, if you're not happy with something in your life, there's something in your life that you've not like worked on or whatever, you got to get busy. You see what I'm saying? It's all fun and dance, to laugh at certain videos and, different celebrities, stuff like that. Nothing's wrong with that. But don't make it the central focus of your life. Don't make it more important than what your goals are. You see what I'm saying? Don't make it more important than your everyday life. If your everyday life is out of balance and crazy, but you got all the time in the world to look up what a celebrity is doing or what your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend's doing, you're not focused. And I'm here to tell you and remind you that you're not focused if that's your life. And getting on track and staying on track is all about focus. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's all about intention, it's all about focus, all about manifestation. And if you're willing, if you're ready to do that, then you've got to get serious about it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just wait for someone to come around and cuddle you and tell you, like, you have to do it for yourself. Like let me just get a little bit deeper. Do you think that anybody came to me and told me to meditate? Do you think that anybody in my life came and said to me, you need to have a YouTube channel? Not necessarily. Luckily there before I launched my channel, there was certain telltale signs of people in my life that were sensing that I was going to do something in media, something with online, but I never told nobody out loud. I never went to nobody and said, what do you think? Like a fucking dickhead. If I wanted to do something, I'm gonna do it. I don't need somebody's approval. You see what I'm saying? And that's a whole other video. You see what I'm saying? That's a whole other video. It's like, that is a whole other can of worms. It's like, going to that is like a whole other topic right there within itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to run things by people. Run it by yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Run it by yourself. Stop waiting for other people to tell you, oh, that sounds good. Oh yeah, do this. Oh yeah, do that. Like, what the heck? Do you have personal power or not? You see what I'm saying? Do you have personal power or not? Do you have control of yourself or not? The things that you have control over in your life, do you have control over it or not? End of story. Like, it's not hard. It's either yes or no. It's either yes or no, bruh. Like, and I'm talking to whoever I'm talking to like this as if you were right next to me. You feel me? Because I'm telling you what I know, and obviously in your own life, you will have to figure it out. But don't play yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't play yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself that, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this by this date, and then a whole 2 years passes. I'll give an example. Back in the day when Twitter was Twitter and Twitter was an X, because Elon changed what Twitter is now. I'll never forget when I would be like, back in the day, like years ago, probably five plus years ago, and I'd be on Twitter and stuff, right? And I see people that have these amazing talents. They do makeup or whatever, and they have no channel. They have no channel. They have no website. They have no products. They have nothing. And every now and then, you feel me? Every now and then, I would, like, if I feel led to, if we're mutual, if we especially if we follow each other on social media, like if they follow me, I follow them, whatever, I follow back, and I feel like that open line of communication's there, I would, and I still kind of do this sometimes if I feel led to, depending upon the mutual interactions, I will mention them and be like, oh, so where's your website? You feel me? Because, like, okay, you showcasing something, but you don't have nothing that I can tap into. And I never forget one time this girl, she would always post like her makeup looks. And she did her makeup in a way that to me was very special. And you know, she would not, she didn't have anything. And I felt that was so shocking because I'm like, look at how many people do makeup way worse than her. Like they don't do makeup even as close as good as her. And they got channels, they got, endorsements, they got brand deals, they got all this cool stuff. And it was just strange to me. And that just reminded me that not everybody can see their own potential. Do you get what I'm saying? Are you listening? Not everybody is fine-tuned enough to understand and see their own gifts, their own potential. And sure enough, she responded back and was like, no, I don't have anything. Um, you know, I don't have anything. I don't do anything. And that right there just showed me, that right there just showed me that not everybody sees their own potential. Not everybody is tuned in enough to see what they have, what they can offer the world, because their thinking is so their thinking is such on a low level, right? And their lack of tools and understanding is so low that they don't even see what they could be. And that's almost like a curse. But that's a lot of people, a lot of people can praise, you know, um, other people and things like that. But when it comes to themselves, they have no answers. So it's like, I can see the potential, I can see the potential in, somebody, and I can praise them and I can say all these good things. But if they don't see it in themselves, what good is it? I just said something real powerful right there. I just said something real powerful right there. I'm trying to, by the way, y'all, I'm trying to figure out how I want to change my title, because I've actually changed the title twice now. Morning Rampage motivational speech. So, and that's how life goes, you know what I'm saying? Sadly, some people are tuned in and they know what they can do, and they're actively working on it. You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people in the world who don't know, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And hopefully, just an example with that girl, me telling her, me trying to show her what she's doing could profit her, could benefit her, and her not realizing, is one of those things in life, one of those dinging moments in life where we have to zone in. We have to pay attention, because you see, I may well be the only person who's ever told her that. You see what I'm saying? I may very well be, the only person who will ever tell her that. You see what I'm saying? But if she's not focused and she's not locked in with herself, she's not going to understand why I said what I said. She's not going to understand why I said what I said. Whereas, if somebody was to come to me and say to me, you know, Simone, I really like your voice. I think that you should have a podcast. I think you should have a YouTube channel. I think you should have whatever, TikTok. I'm locked in with myself to the point where I know what the person's trying to say without saying it, because I know my potential. I know my potential. See, not everybody has that understanding. Do you get it? Not everybody is so in tune that people could be trying to point things out to them that could better their life, but they're so distracted and they think so low of themselves that they can't get out of that box. They can't see the potential. They can't even fathom, having their own brand or having their own business, because their thinking is low. They're literally thinking low frequency, low vibration. They're thinking on a low level. So, and that happens to the best of people. You see what I'm saying? It happens to the best of people, but it's not up to me to, like, going back to that example of that girl on Twitter. It's not up to me, you see what I'm saying, to hold her hand and go behind her and say, you should really have a channel because your makeup looks are so unique. I've never seen nobody do makeup like you. You need to get this going. That's not my job. You get what I'm saying? That's not my job. So I want to flip it and say to y'all, how many people in your own life has tried to steer you in the right direction, tried to illuminate something for you, but you're so distracted, you're thinking so low, your mind is not conditioned to think high of yourself, your higher self, and you've missed opportunities, or you feel like you've not maximized your potential. Think about that. Think about that. It's a lot of people. You feel me? So, that's a good example, because, she was always posting her makeup looks and whatever. And what do you gain from that? You feel what I'm saying? Do you have a clientele? Do you have a website? Are you going to cosmetology or beauty school or whatever? Like, what is the point of that? You feel what I'm saying? What is the point of that? And on top of that, it's like, are you just doing something to do something, or is there actually a benefit? You see what I'm saying? Like, that goes back into intention. Why are you putting yourself into something that you don't want it to grow, that you don't feel connected to? Like, what is the point of that? What is the point of that? So just like that girl with that example, from my perspective, I'm seeing her post her makeup looks. And from my perspective, I'm thinking, oh, maybe she's a makeup artist, or maybe she wants to have a beauty YouTube channel, and showcase what she got. And maybe if she's good enough and she works hard enough, she can get sponsorships. She could quit her 9 to 5 and make a living off of YouTube. That's how I'm thinking for her. And I don't even know her. Now, all of that I never told her, because I didn't have a long conversation with her. But once I saw her response, I said to myself, oh, okay, she's not serious. Because she has a talent, she has a gift according to what I see and other people see, but she don't see it for herself. So it kind of reminds me of the quote that says, if you don't love yourself or you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect anybody else to? Now, I used to see that quote and that tweet, and it used to kind of, you know, make me cringe because it's so true. It's like, if you don't have that for yourself, how do you expect somebody else to, you know, feel that for you or to think that for you? Like, it doesn't, it doesn't align. And it's, sadly, it's true, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is true. So, that's a really good example. That's a great example. I think that wraps up this video in terms of, reflection and improvement. Is like, you know, people can see something in you, but if you don't see it in yourself, what good is it? What good is it? If everybody is saying, oh, you're so talented, you're so this, you're so that, but like, you don't take initiative, you don't do nothing with it, what is the point? There is no point. you know I will say this: there's so many people that are in a lot better positions in life than a lot of people. They have the privilege, they have the money, they have the looks, they have all these things, but they're playing with their potential. You feel what I'm saying? They don't take themselves seriously. And then these are the same people who will look at other people and be jealous of them and want to worship people, strangers. But all the while, they could have been the person that people are worshiping, if they want to put it that way. But because they don't take initiative, they're just a spectator. They're not a participant. They're not a person who's serious. They're just somebody who just, messes around. So that example, I think, is really good. I think that example is a perfect example. Like, really, like, I can see that for somebody. I can see that somebody has the potential to be all that in a bag of chips. But if they don't see it for themselves, this girl was, I think she was underweight. Sadly, she didn't look like she was super healthy, but she was skinny enough where, if you put anything on her, it could work. You feel what I'm saying? And, she was always posting makeup looks. And in my head, I'm like, well, she could profit off of that. Why doesn't she profit off of that? Why doesn't she do something where she can, express herself? And just posting random pictures, but there's no fruit. You know what I'm saying? You're not building a brand. You're just posting random pictures. Whereas there's other girls, for example, there's other women who are much older than her and have now turned their YouTube channel into a multi-million-dollar empire off the same shit she's doing for free. Are y'all hearing me this morning? Like, people triple her age, put in the work, doing the same thing she's doing, but actually making money off of it. And here's this girl, not even half their age, super young, ideal magazine body type, whatever, and is doing nothing with her talent because why? She's not locked in. She's not paying attention. She's not programmed herself for success, and she don't know any better. She don't know any better, so she doesn't do better. If you don't know better, you don't do better. So that's kind of just how it goes, That's how it goes. But, every now and then I think back to that and I'm like, wow, some people are just so destined and are so lucky, and not because of other factors necessarily, but they're lucky because they put in the work and they show up and they don't give up. And that's what it comes down to. Like, truth be told, to me, that's what it comes down to, especially when it comes to like work success. You just don't give up. You have a strong belief in yourself. You don't have to look like a supermodel. For the guys out here, you don't have to look like, a transformer. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to try. You do have to be proactive. You see what I'm saying? So every now and then, I think of that situation like, wow, the difference is this person over here can see what they have and can monetize it and can build upon it and work at it. And then the other person over here can be just as good, but they have no strategy. They have no future in mind. They have no action plan. They have no structure. And so it amounts to nothing. And that's their fault. I'm saying? Maybe when they wake up and they get more focused and they come across certain books to help them and, enlighten them, then it will happen. But you don't want to get to, a super older age and you're missing out on vital information you could have had in your 20s or 30s or even 40s that, you could have had if you just paid attention. You don't want to be that kind of person. And that's why a lot of times with myself, I really lock in. I'm not gonna lie, there used to be times where, I just be up all night just like researching and reading, and I enjoy it. Now, people that don't enjoy reading and things like that, it may be harder for them, but like I actually do enjoy like researching and reading and things like that. So for me, it's probably a little bit easier. Whereas if somebody doesn't like reading, doesn't like researching, doesn't like writing, maybe they have to, do audio. I don't know. But, that's how I am. And because of that, I wouldn't get sleep because I'm so fascinated by how someone got that from that and how somebody was homeless and now they're a billionaire. Like things like that really interest me, but now because I'm healthier in my mentality, I don't stay up all night. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much hours in a day. You know what I'm saying? I can do that in a day, or I can do it before I go to bed. But I'm not gonna stay up till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, obsessing over it, because that's not healthy either. So there has to be a balance. You see what I'm saying? But there's I'm just telling y'all, there's tons of people out here. There is shit tons of people out here who were homeless, who were dead broke. A word that I never use in my vocabulary is broke, but there's people out here that have come from nothing and now there's something. And so it's possible. I just want to implant that into your subconscious mind. Anything is possible. Understand, anything is possible. You cannot limit yourself based upon what your eyes just see. Do you think, y'all, do y'all think that when I started this YouTube channel, I had a limited view of my success and what I could do, or did I have a broad perspective? You guys answer the question. Okay, gave me enough time, I'll answer the question for you. I had a broad perspective. I never limited myself. I never limited myself to a certain topic. I never limited myself to what I can and cannot upload. There is no limit. There is no limit. And so when you go to work, when you get up, when you take a bath, when you get your hair done, whatever, when you go out in the world, you got to think like this. You've got to think limitless, because God is limitless. The universe is limitless. Our abilities are limitless. Only thing blocking us most of the time is our minds, guys. Is our limiting beliefs. So we don't need to be confused anymore about how people become overnight successes. And we don't need to question how it happens anymore. It's not hard to understand. The big difference is they just apply themselves. End of story. Trial and error. Trial and error. They focus on what's gonna create a positive momentum, and they keep going in that direction. They don't just stop because something doesn't get a lot of headway, or they don't limit themselves like that. You can't limit yourself like that. You have to think bigger. And I really feel like that makeup girl example was a really good example, because there's so many people that are like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't see what they have, but other people can see what they have. And that's sad. It's sad when people can see how amazing you are, but you can't see how amazing you are. And that is tied to low self-esteem, trauma. That's tied to a lot of things that, keep people stuck in a loop of, you know, not being where they want to be. So it's time to stop waiting for people to, you know, aid you and help you and all types of stuff. I think people need to really, and I think that, people in the world are more and more waking up to this fact, thankfully. But now we've got to turn it up 30 notches. You feel what I'm saying? Now we got to go all the way, because there's only so much that can be done in a certain amount of time. And now we need to step it up. Now we need to go the extra mile. You know what I'm saying? So, don't be, if you're watching me right now and you haven't begun working on your dreams, you haven't carved out time in your schedule for yourself, and you know that you're lacking on your personal goals, but you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Don't be like that girl. Don't be like that girl that I'm talking about, where she was just doing things with no foresight, no insight, and in fact, when she was doing that, there was a lot of girls that were just starting to go into the YouTube beauty space. That was around the time where people were just beginning to really flex their creative muscle on YouTube. And now, fast forward to 2023, look at how many moms and influencers and brand ambassadors and business owners and women that are working for themselves. Look at how many. There's a sea of, there's heaps of them now. Versus 5 years ago, 6 years ago, now there's so many. There's so many of them that have been able to turn their creativity and their passions into multi-million-dollar empires. And so, if you're in this mindset of, oh, I can only go so far, I can only do so much because I live here in the world, or I came from this kind of family, or I have this kind of skin tone, or those are all limiting beliefs. Those are all excuses. I'm sorry. Those are all excuses, and that's why I don't give up. That's why I never give up, because I know that if somebody can go from homeless to multimillionaire, why can't I? You see what I'm saying? Like, that same dedication, that same passion that person has for their own dreams, I have for my own dreams. I have for my own goals. And I'm not going to waver. It's not a negotiation. You see what I'm saying? And if you want to live a life that you want to live, you've got to have some non-negotiables. That's a whole other book I could probably write. You feel what I'm saying? That's a whole other can of worms. You got to have some non-negotiables, okay? There's got to be certain things in your life that you're not going to negotiate. You're not going to put up with. That's another part of it. So you see how deep this goes? You see how deep this goes? You see how many twists and turns? You see how many topics? You see how many principles? You see how many levels there is to this? That's why most don't do it. Look at the crisis right now amongst boomers, right? All the things they've gone through, all the things that we're going through, Gen Z, millennials, you know how it goes. Look at how many of them are now retired. That's a systematic pattern. See, they're not going to talk about this in, mainstream media, but look at the pattern. Not putting nobody on Front Street. I'm just using an example. Look at the pattern, right? More than half of them are divorced, right? There's a cause and effect as to why certain things happen, right? And you have to follow the patterns. You have to follow the patterns, and we can't be ignorant to why we end up where we end up in life, right? Like right now, I'm in my late to mid 20s, basically going into my late 20s, right? And I am thinking about retirement from now, which, yes, it sounds crazy to me too, but there's a lot of times where I freak out because I'm like, oh my God, what they're projecting out here in the media is, oh, millennials and Gen Z are never going to retire, all this negative shit. And every time I hear that, I'm like, return to sender, return to sender. Maybe you're not going to retire, but I am. You get what I'm saying? Like, you just can't take what you hear for fact. You got to do your research. You know what I'm saying? They can say all day long, oh, millennials are never going to retire. They're never going to have nothing. They're never going to have a house. To who? By what standard? I don't accept that. Maybe they've accepted that. Maybe they've accepted that as their reality, but that's not my reality. That ain't my reality. Sorry to burst their bubble, but that's not my reality. Okay, it's not. So that's just another example of how they try to program people for poverty, man. They put out all over the media, millennials are never gonna own a house, millennials are never this, millennials are never. But like, who said what they're saying is a fact? Because it's not. Because it's not a fact and will never be a fact. So that's how I feel about it. Just because they say something, they proclaim something, doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it a fact. Doesn't make it a fact. Somebody could be broke today and be a multi-millionaire tomorrow. Who said that millennials don't have this and millennials don't have that? To what reality? Who made them boss? Who died and made them king? They're just talking, they're just yapping their gums, but that don't mean it's true. That don't mean that I have to agree with that, because I don't. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you got to be. That's how you got to think for yourself. Like I said, everything I'm saying in this video, I can only say from my mouth, but I want you to process it with your own words, with your own ideas. I want you to remix it in your own mind and make it in your own voice. So what I'm saying, you hear in your own voice and not my voice, because then it's not going to stick. You got to hear it for yourself. You got to process it the way you want to process it for yourself. So just because somebody says something doesn't make it fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want people to be in that mentality. They want people to think that they're never going to be more than where they are right now. That's the whole game they're playing on people in society. But if you know that you're not going to put up with that or agree to that, then that's not going to be your reality. That's not going to be the ending of your story. It's just not. And it's up to, once again, you and I individually to call the shots, to ignore the negativity, to ignore what they're trying to program us to believe. If you see yourself owning a house or multiple properties, no magazine, no celebrity, nothing out there is going to stop you if that's what you want to do. You get what I'm saying? If you want to retire at 50, if you want to retire at 60, if you don't want to have kids or you do want to have kids, that's entirely up to you. No one can come in and say to you, oh, because I said so you're not going to have a house, so you're not going to have a house. The fuck? That's crazy. you have to decide in your own mind, your own reality, your own paradigm, what you're going to put in it. What stuff are you putting in your paradigm? What stuff are you putting in your head? What stuff are you putting in your reality? Are you only putting things in your reality that tell you no, 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 no? Or are you putting things in your reality that tells you yes, 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 yes? Yes, I will have that job. Yes, I will have that house. Yes, I will have a happy marriage. Yes, I will have a healthy body. What things are you putting in your paradigm? Okay? So that is the note I want to leave y'all off on. That I think is chef kiss of what I want to say. Put things in your own reality, out of your own mouth, in your own head that benefit you. If you're not benefiting, there's no point. Especially relationships in this digital age of dating apps and all this foolery. If you're not benefiting from a relationship, why are you in it? If you're not benefiting from a job, why are you at the job? If you're not benefiting from your business, change your business structure, change your strategy, change how you do, switch something up, do something. Don't just stand there and panic. That's why I'm saying you have to remain calm. You can't panic and then jump. You have to get yourself centered and focused and then take a leap of faith. Then move into action. Then execute your plan. You can't be from a place of wobbly and instability and think you're going to just land on solid ground. You got to calm down. You've got to get focused, and then you need to move accordingly. That's how you're really going to have success. When your emotions are all over the place, it's a lot harder for you to get from point A to B. Okay, but I don't want my phone to go dead on me. I've been charging all night, but I guess I woke up really early and I used a lot of my phone battery, so I gotta get off of here. But yeah, begin to put things in your mind, begin to create healthy habits, begin to do things little by little every day, okay? But it's gonna shift your paradigm, shift your way of thinking, shift your results. You've got to think bigger than what they're putting in the media, than what your relatives have said to you that is limiting your potential. You've got to overskirt that. You've got to overthink that. You've got to think bigger. You've got to do bigger. You've got to step into the reality that you want, not a reality that somebody created for you and then says, here, take it. Because that's not your reality, is it? That's somebody giving you a template. That's somebody giving you a blueprint. That's somebody giving you your world, your reality you live in. You've got to scrap all of that. Listen very carefully. You've got to scrap all of that. You've got to throw it away and say, I don't agree with that. If someone's just telling you what to do, telling you how to live, that's not what you are creating. That's somebody that's created something for you and is telling you, hey, agree to it or you're fired, right? It's a job. Agree to do this or you're out of here. That's not being a co-creator. That's not being in control. That's actually the opposite. So then you have to manifest a job that works with you, that benefits you. Then you're just benefiting the company and you're not being benefited. You see, this is the information that I want people to have. This is the information they don't want people to have. I'm telling you, you've got to scrap the old blueprint. You've got to throw it away. You've got to unplug. You've got to make your own reality. That's the only way. That is the only way. This is how all these people that are sitting on their ass collecting $100 million of checks, this is how they live. They don't live in a world where people are pointing the finger at them. It's quite the contrary. They're pointing the finger at it. They're the boss. They're in control. That's the difference. That's a huge difference between being at a job where you're being bossed around versus you're in the driver's seat and you're doing what you want to do. It's a huge difference. So for all my entrepreneurs out here, you're going to have to reprogram your mind, bruh. You're going to have to really get out of the old template, because being an employee versus being the employer or the boss is a whole different paradigm, bruh. And I've done both of them. I've lived both, so I know, like, you gotta have a whole different set of principalities and principles that you live off of versus what the average person lives off of. You gotta think completely different in order to get out of that system, if that's what you want to do. if that's what you want to do, right? Everyone's different. But you got to like get yourself out of that. You got to literally get yourself out of that, or you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck there all day long. So you've got to make it happen. You've got to make it happen. And yes, it's going to be difficult. And yes, it's going to be tough. And yes, it's going to be a pain in the ass. What isn't a pain in the ass? Come on now. But you got to make a decision. You got to make some tough decisions, y'all. You got to make the decision. You got to make the tough call today. There's a lot of you watch me where you are sitting on a tough decision right now, and you need to pull the trigger, okay, and make that tough decision. Could be a habit, could be a lifestyle, could be a way of thinking. You've got to launch out of it. You've got to release the escape button, push it down, and fling off. You've got to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? You've got to. Or you're going to be stuck, I'm telling you. You're going to be in the same cycle next year. You got to make changes today. You got to do things today that are going to enhance you in the future. Not that you're future focused, but you're in the present and you're intentional and you know what you want. So if you don't know what you want, start there. Brainstorm there. Work on it there. If you don't know what you want, then you got to go back to the drawing board. You feel me? But if you know what you want and you're just afraid of getting it, then there's some limiting beliefs. There's some subconscious blocks. There's some things that people maybe have told you that have gotten in your head that are pressing down your potential. And you've got to, like I said, you got to break out of that. You've got to get out. Because if you don't, then who's going to save you? Nobody. Nobody but yourself. So you could do it. Love y'all. I'm out of here.